it's so nice just to talk about yourself. Like, I know we all been on a phone call and you ready to tell your friend something, but they talking about themselves and you don't want to take up the space.
Yeah.
This is your space. And I feel like clients, I be telling my clients, I be like, oh, I don't want to be, girl, it's all about you. For a whole hour, talk about yourself. And you see how powerful it is, even for men. Like, I have men client, which I'm going to say, y'all is the hardest demographic to work with.
Well, why are we the hardest?
Because I don't even want to get on this, but
No, that's all
I
right.
had
Go
one
ahead.
client. Yeah, he stresses me out. Like, thinking about him now, I'm just getting traumatized. He is
Live, quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Roll sound.
Sound production, take one.
Wild, step wild, step wild, step
Y'all already know what it is, man. We live in the city with this one. We got the chairs today, so we in the director's chair. Today we got a special one for you, live in the city, all the way. We in the Bronx.
in the Bronx, the boogie.
We in the Boogie Down Bronx today. Got a special one today with my girl Rhea.
Hi.
What's going on? How you doing today?
Doing lovely. How are you doing?
I'm good. Listen, I'm appreciative of you coming out today, showing some love out here in the city for us. One time, you know, we got a director's chair in the city.
I see it's like real legit.
Yeah, a little bit.
GBO and all. I seen it.
A little bit, you know. We just try to talk to everybody about how they like to direct their life, you know, for the most part. So we bring the chairs out, sit there and talk to them. We ain't on the couch today. If you was back in the city,
I
you know,
seen.
we'd be on the couch or whatever. So we're gonna start off, kick it off a little bit. So go ahead and introduce yourself to us a little bit. Tell us about you.
Okay, so my name is Rhea, originally from Rochester, but Queens, born and raised. I am a psychotherapist for the last 2 years, and yeah, I've been therapying and just chilling for the last.
Psychotherapy.
Yeah.
Psychotherapy. A black psychotherapist at that.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you exactly. So, can you elaborate for a lot of them that may not know or understand ideally? What is a psychotherapist?
So there's different levels. So psychotherapy is primarily a therapist who deals with all levels of mental health. I'm a mental health counselor. That's what my degree is in. So I work with all disorders from anxiety to bipolar disorder, but primarily clinical. So I do diagnosing and talk therapy like what we all see on TV, people talking like this. So yeah.
Now, just to ask you, what made you get into like the whole idea of like wanting to be a therapist?
Well, I feel like if anybody is from Rochester, has lived in Rochester, it's so toxic. Okay, let me not say that. It is very dark. And growing up in Rochester, I had the privilege of like being raised in a 2-parent household. My parents lived in the 19th ward, so I had it a little different than others. But my dad owned a restaurant on Hudson. I saw violence every day. Then I went to Franklin after going to all-girls school. Turned my world all the way around. And I just saw how like black people are suffering. Like, I didn't have the words to identify what it was, but I saw like people when I was 13 doing drugs, losing their lives, like gun violence. So once I got a little older and I understood what it was and like what was happening, I was like, I got to do something. I want to be a part of it. I was going to become a nurse. You know, all Caribbeans want to be nurses. So
Yes,
I
yes.
went to be a nurse. Well, I tried to get my prereqs, and it didn't work. And then I went to travel for a year, and again, mental health kept coming up. I'm traveling with people from all over the world, and I'm like, people are struggling. And I was like, something is happening. And I'm like, I need to go back to school. So that's when I went back to get my bachelor's.
Okay. Now, exactly when you went off to go get your bachelor's, where you graduated from?
Baruch College in Manhattan, actually.
There
Yes.
we go. So, I know you mentioned as far as like born and raised here, transferring out, living in Rochester a little bit too as well. Now, obviously, like going through your journey as far as becoming a psychotherapist too as well. Walk us through your journey in regards to like when you were in college, like doing that type of stuff.
So it's a lot. So you got to get your bachelor's. You can get your bachelor's in anything. So I did go psychology because I was interested. And then I went back to Baruch to get my master's. It's a 2-year program. It's hell. I don't know how most programs are, but it's a cohort. So you are with those people for 2 years. So you are doing like classes that are focused on trauma, grief, learning disorders. It's like really emotional. And then you have to do, my program was a little different. We did a practicum. So you start practicing as a therapist like your second semester.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Usually, like most people, it might take them like.
So you usually wait till your 3rd semester, but they put you right in. And that was scary because like I don't know nothing and I'm therapying people.
So what's scary about it?
Because you literally are talking to people. Like first I worked at a trauma center.
Okay.
With kids and adults, and that was hard. Like they having no experience, and like sitting down like this. So how you feeling? Like what's going on?
Like it was strangers.
It was like, whoa, who am I to like talk to you about your problems? I'm literally in school learning this. But after the practicum, you feel more confident. So at my internship, I did internship for 2 years, and I definitely felt more confident, and I felt more like I knew what I was doing. And then while you're doing the classes, you're learning so much as well that you can apply to clients. And then in the midst of all that, you got to write like a 20-page plus paper about a client and talk about like, you literally have to diagnose the client, treatment planning, and it's a whole bunch. But that was it. After the 20 pages, and you don't have to take a test. That's it.
That's it.
Well, that's it for school. So you also have to...
Like state board exam and all that stuff?
Yeah, so you gotta take an exam, and then with mental health counselors, it's a little harder than social workers. Like, not harder, but you have to do more. I have to get 3,000 hours.
Yeah, I've heard
so I'm permitted right now. So technically, knock on wood, I get my license in 2 weeks.
Okay.
But you have...
Congratulations, first off.
I had to get 3,000 hours. And then you have to pay for the test, and then take the test and pass. So that's like the full steps. It looks different for everyone. I know for me, like I ended up passing my test the first time, thank God. And I got my hours pretty quick. Okay.
Now, in regards to like your journey, even like post-wise, like going through like volunteer hours is what you would call it, right?
No, you get paid.
Oh, you get paid for it?
No, those is paid time. I cannot be volunteering no
paid.
free time for 2 years.
Okay, it's good. So, okay, within like even like your post journey, as far as like getting more into the field, more in depth, for you, what would you say is the craziest thing you've experienced so far?
Post grad? I don't know. I feel like I've had some crazy cases. But if I look back post grad, it actually was real chill.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like looking at it now, like it was super chill. Like I got my job and it was super chill. I had no real craziness. I think probably after a year it got crazy.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. If you said super chill, has there ever been any moment you feel like, in a sense for you, where like a case might have, because I know they typically try to say, well, don't try to get too attached to a case or something like that exactly. Has there ever been a moment that a case has got like kind of attached to you in a sense?
Yeah, ironically, I have a case like that now. I feel like teenagers I tend to like get really close to. I feel like in those cases, so I used to work little side history about me. I used to work in the Bronx, actually, South Bronx, as a case planner with ACS. And those are the tough cases. Like you see people get their kids taken. You see like uninhabitable like homes. Like it's really crazy. And I took that experience and went into becoming a therapist as well. And my first case where like the mom was abusive, like very neglectful parents, like that always triggers me. Yeah, and I'm always like, I want to help this person. And that's the thing too, like as a therapist, you can't do much. Like you just could talk to people and refer. So like I feel like as a therapist, you kind of want to, like as a case planner, you go to their homes. You go to the home, you do so much more. As a therapist, I'm not in person either. I'm just on the virtual. So I feel like my hard cases, the ones that I get really attached to is the ones where I'm like, I want to go to your house and like get you out the house and like support you, but you can't. Like you just gotta, again, I can refer you to the hospital. So I think those cases are hard. And this case was harder in particular because they're Caribbean. And I don't know, I'm very biased with Caribbean people. So I wanted to like save this kid.
How come you biased?
Huh?
I said, how come you biased with?
Because like it's like your lived experience. Like I'm Caribbean and I know like how my parents raised me, and I'm the firstborn American. So it's like being raised like in between two generations, you see like how hard it is for parents. Like this kid is firstborn American and trying to like be an American while being raised with a different background. It doesn't work. So I'm always biased because I'm like, I get the struggle, but as a person now, as an adult now, I understand what my parents went through. I understand like what happens with the like why the lines get blurred. But I struggle and I'm biased because I'm like I get it, but it's not my journey. Like they have to go through that themselves. So I have to kind of, as a therapist, that's the whole point of us. We have to be unbiased. I'm just there to guide you. I'm not there to hold your hand through it.
I got you. Now, let me ask you this. So, obviously, born and raised here, then transferring to Rochester, then obviously moving back as an adult too as well. From your perspective, your scope, from what you're seeing as far as like within your type of work with trauma, would you say as far as like the level of trauma, is it essentially any different here than it is in Rochester? Just because it's a larger surface area.
Yeah, I feel like it's
well a lot more people, but smaller.
It's a lot more people, but I feel like I don't know. It feels like two different spaces. So like the South Bronx. South Bronx is known for being extremely toxic. Like any memes you see about the Bronx is usually the South Bronx, where we at now. And the South Bronx is like a different beast. It reminds me of like Hudson on like times 10.
Okay. Oh, times 10.
Like it's like times 10 because you like literally could walk down the block and see crazy things and like see like the mental health is so bad down here. I feel like the only difference with Rochester, like it's in your face and like how like literally I don't know him, but like I know him. Like I'm like I've seen him before. Rochester's just so small, so it's like even if you like feel like it's not gonna affect me, like you still know people, and I feel like that's why it makes it hard. Like in the Bronx, you could be walking down the street, you might not know anybody. It's more populated, so it's like you don't notice as much of things compared to Rochester. It's so small and isolated where it's like anything that happens, it affects everybody. So I feel like Rochester's worse because it's so small. Like I don't know if the recent incident that just happened with the little boy. I'm in New York City and my Facebook is primarily Rochester. That's all I've heard. Okay. So it's like New York City, something happened here. I probably won't hear about it unless it's on a Citizens app.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I feel about it.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's tap into this. Types of trauma. Let's name some of the types of trauma.
Okay. Again, I'm just quizzing my brain.
Okay,
so we obviously basic trauma. There's generational trauma, vicarious trauma, which most people in the health field get because you're working in those environments. Generational trauma is essentially what it is, right? It's passed down through generations. Is there another one? I think that's the only ones I can remember right now. Those are the main ones that I witnessed.
Okay. Now, to ask you from your personal perspective, any personal trauma you've ever seen for yourself growing up?
I've seen like violence, a lot of violence. My dad, I have nothing to hide. He was abusive. I wasn't a part of the abuse, but when I got older, he was like abusing people, like in his restaurant and outside.
Oh, okay.
So like I saw that in drugs, like people becoming, and drug use is not weed, but like the hard stuff. And I feel like most females have experienced sexual assault or sexual harassment. So like in my personal experience, I've experienced that as well.
From a person that's seen like trauma yourself, how does it affect a person like on a day-to-day basis, like from the moment it possibly does happen to, as you progress forward with your life?
So obviously individual experiences, but I feel like it seeps into your world, right? First you lose trust in your environment, the people around you, the spaces that you enter. Some people become paranoid, right? You don't trust and you like think people are out to get you. And you get really depressed, right? You start to go inward instead of outward. So if that looks like you staying home more often, staying in the bed, really just isolating yourself, not wanting to be a part of the world and like activities. Or I've seen the reverse where people outwardly go and they put themselves in toxic situations, trying to mend that wound or like kind of shield themselves from that pain. So they put themselves in more uncomfortable or more trauma-filled situations.
What's a way to go about like finding a solution, like to, you know, continue life, I guess, in a sense?
So I'm biased. I would say as a therapist, get therapy. But no, I do think if you don't have, because it is expensive. Therapy is not cheap. But community. Like I think one thing I always talk about is community. One thing I feel like has helped me through my life is having a great support system. And I know not a lot of people have that. But the first part is finding your community. So like if your family is the problem, find some friends. Find people that you can connect with and resonate with. Because that's like the most cheapest thing you can do. People who really support you, that is like a buffer. If you have people that can constantly show up for you, it like makes you realize like, shoot, I can show up for myself. I feel like that's like surface level. If you can't find community, doing activities. So like, you know, men, y'all love basketball. That's your community. No offense. It's a good thing, but that's where you guys find community. Even if you don't like really talk to these people outside of basketball, but like, you know, you can like go to basketball, play, and then when you're done, that's it. But that's your outlet. I feel like finding safe outlets. So talking about it and being vocal is like a huge part. Lastly, well, kind of going to be vocal. I don't like when people be like, oh, don't talk about your trauma, don't say nothing, keep it inward. No, because like that's when it builds up and that's when it festers and becomes something worse. So talking about it, finding community, seeking support. So if that's therapy, group therapy, or any other activities like basketball or like sports, like finding something to turn the trauma around. I feel like most people don't, and then they just kind of keep getting into more trauma-filled situations.
Now, let me ask you this in regards to trauma. So, we're being technical, probably. Somebody may not like this, but that's okay. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. With trauma by race, I like to believe and think that African American race probably is one of the most traumatic races that still go through things on a day-to-day basis. From your perspective, to ask you, because I've heard a quote or a statement, whatever, someone mentioned before about behavior and trauma. Is trauma an excuse for behavior?
So hard, because yes and no. I have heard that, right? This idea of like, you just because you have trauma doesn't mean that you should go be I don't know if I can curse, but shitty person.
Yeah, you curse, yeah.
But you can't be a shitty person just because you have trauma. I agree with that statement. But also, I feel like we just started getting the words. We just started identifying like what it is. So to a certain extent, unless you fully like know that you have trauma and that you're avoiding doing the work, then yeah, you're a shitty person. But if you are just now coming to terms with like, oh shoot, I might have trauma, all the things that I was doing might have been from that, but I'm going to do the work now. All right, you got some leeway, but I do think it gets, therapy words get mixed up and mingled with everything. Mm-hmm. Just because you have trauma does not mean that you should just be doing shitty shit to people. Like that's not how it usually works.
Excuse.
It is an excuse, and that's why I do like, yeah, it is. But then I'm like, okay, if you don't have the tools, you don't have the resources, you don't know any better. So that's why I'm like, it really just depends. But most times, I feel like people nowadays, because we got the words, we have the understanding of what trauma is, especially, like, you got social media. You can go on TikTok and diagnose yourself. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, yeah, you might be a shitty person. So, yeah, that's my final opinion.
You know, most people not going to hold themselves accountable, even if they think internally that they are. They're not going to.
They don't. It's so funny. This is so random, but on my Hinge profile, I have, like, my thing is, like, people like to diagnose themselves so they can, like, lose. Like, it takes away the accountability part. Like, if I'm anxious, it's okay that I show up that way. If I'm depressed, it's okay. And it's like, you guys are now making your diagnosis your personality. So like narcissistic personality, which is used all around the world now, that is only like a small percentage of people. You may have traits, like I might have traits, but it doesn't mean like that is your whole person. And I feel like people take trauma and they're like, oh, I had all this trauma, so this is, no. Because now that you're using the word trauma, that means that you could have went to get help. You could have did something about it, but you didn't, and you're using it to justify. So I don't like that.
Okay, that's fair. Have you ever heard anybody like use substance as a coping mechanism?
Oh my God, I just made a status about this and people was in shambles. So I have smoked weed. I'm not like acting like I'm all innocent. I've smoked weed. Yeah, I done shrooms, and that's all about I would do. But I don't judge people for using drugs because, you know, we young, you're exploring. But drugs at some point become a little too much. It becomes an addiction. I literally just made a post on Facebook yesterday, like weed is the problem. And people was in shambles, like, well, I graduated and I smoke weed. I'm like, yeah, you're a functioning addict. Like, there's people who do on Wall Street, do cocaine and drink, and they are doing stocks and bonds, like,
on a day-to-day basis.
Day-to-day basis, and nobody would know. So it's like you telling me that, like, you were able to graduate, you still are addicted. So I tell people, like, you have to really look at drugs as what it is. And, like, a lot of people's like, oh, people are lacking accountability. It's really a them problem. Maybe it is, yeah, but there's also the drug.
Yeah.
Like, it's also the drug. Like, I don't have, like, I would tell people you have to know your traits, too. Like, I don't have an addictive personality. So, like, I've done weed. I don't like it. I get paranoid. I stop. But there's people who smoke and need to continuously smoke. You could do anything. That's like coffee. Coffee can be an addictive straight, too. Sure. So, it's like you have to know your family background. If you have anybody who's addicted to something, then it's no longer just like, yeah, weed is no, you are using it because you're abusing it. And that's why yesterday I was going in on people, because I'm like, weed, they was like, oh, the dispensaries is the problem. Y'all was addicted to weed prior to dispensaries. It's just now regulated.
Days.
Yeah.
Sour.
Yo, I didn't go to Marshall, but I went to Franklin, and niggas was smoking in the basement, outside. I was even smoking. So it's like, doing that so young and then you're still smoking every day.
Worse.
That's a problem.
You think that prevents like growth as far as like, I mean, career, personality?
I feel like it's different now because it's legal and people accept weed as like almost like alcohol. Like, it's nothing. I don't think it stunts you because it's so normalized, but I feel like at some point, I don't know, like you have to look at yourself like, yo, what is this doing for me? Like, I have clients, and I think that's why I'm noticing more, like, weed is an addiction that people don't want to admit, but I'm noticing that people are like, oh, it's my coping skill, like, it makes me feel good. No, it's numbing you. It's making you avoidant. It's making you, like, not even being able to process your emotions and anything that's happening in reality. That doesn't sound like something I want to be on. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like people need to kind of really come back to reality. And I think that's what it's hard to say, like, is it stunting people's growth? People graduating, people getting high-paying jobs and still smoking weed. So I can't say no, but I feel like in some capacity, yeah, like you're limited in some little bit, like a little bit of a capacity. Maybe it's in relationships. Maybe it's finances because you funding this habit. I don't know how much weed is now, but that's an everyday habit. What if you smoke like 5 blunts a day?
Oh, there's something out there that's doing that.
I know. I have a bro. I love him down if you ever see this. But we drove from Rochester to Cali, and he rolled, like anytime it was like his break, he would roll like 6 joints, smoke them all, and then like roll up more again. And I'll just be like, why? Like that to me is that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a little too extensive, honestly.
Yeah, like 1 blunt a day, okay, but like y'all are smoking it like
it's chips.
Yeah, like it's some Doritos. Like, let me just get a bag real quick. Even that, like, it just, I don't know. Like I said, I know people get mad at that, like, because weed is supposed to be natural. I'm Jamaican. My mom, like, she used to drink, in Jamaica, in her time, they used to use weed as, like, tea.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I look at stuff like that, like, they didn't take advantage of it. They used it and, you know, they added it to routines. Now people are using it to the point where it's like, you can't even function. And that's the problem with me.
Now, what would you say, like, as a therapist, because there's always solutions you have to give, what's some recommendations you would give to overcome substance?
So I feel like it's so funny. I'm literally dealing with 3 clients who have substance usage, and it looks different for each person. Also, you have to figure out, like, what's going on, like, why. I have one who was sober, and relapsed. Even that, like, people don't want to call it a relapse. It's a relapse. We made like a safety plan around like ways to limit smoking or people being around people who smoke. Because, you know, like that's the thing too, smoking is a social drug.
For sure.
So like the one thing that I always say for clients, like if you feel like your community might be a bad influence, they peer pressuring you, like you have to cut off contact, like for at least 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Ensuring that you're like not around any drugs, right? So if that's like staying home.
How do you even do that when you like
it's hard.
Everything is surrounded by a substance. Like
it is. I'm not saying it's easy, and that's why I always tell my clients, like, I'm not a therapist that's like, oh my God, you didn't do that, you failed. I'm like, you know, it's day by day. Like I am not perfect, you're not perfect, you just got to take time. So if that, like for instance, like if I smoke with you, I'm not gonna hang out with you for 2 weeks. I'm probably going to give you space. And everyone else, I'll probably hang out with more because they don't make me feel like I need to smoke. Doing more activities, like going to the gym, working out, walking. Like, I always feel like, I don't know how it's been in Rochester, but I think it's the same weather. It's been rainy, so I'm like, nah, my clients can go outside. So what can I offer? They also have Narcotics Anonymous, like where you can just have meetings and go in person for that. So, again, community. Finding people that can support you rather than... I don't even know the word, make you just feel like you need to smoke with them. So that's like a big thing. Just finding activities that don't have to do with weed or any other drug.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this too. So as a therapist, name some great accomplishment that you feel that you achieved.
Ooh, wow. I feel like graduating was a huge one. That was the first accomplishment. I was in school working 2 jobs full time.
Stressful?
I was stressed and I was like crying every day. I didn't know how I was going to survive. And I had a shitty supervisor. Yeah, so I graduated and I was crying the whole time because I'm like, I didn't know how that was going to happen. Did that. I'm proud of myself for being in panels. When I first started, they offered me to do a panel and I was like, I don't know. I talk very well, but I'd be shy and I'd be so nervous. So I was like, no. But I did that and I was really proud. I created a group, a Black women's group. I haven't launched it yet. But
that's dope. Congratulations.
Yes, I created that. It's based on like somatic work and really finding your voice. So that's something I'm really proud of. And I will say, like, as a therapist, it's hard out here. I've been able to maintain like a full caseload. And I've seen like my clients come to me and close out. I feel like that's an accomplishment, seeing my clients become like the person they thought they couldn't be. So yeah, those are some of my big ones.
Now, last question I'm gonna ask you. For yourself as a therapist in this type of field, let alone a Black therapist at that. How do you bring balance to your life and the type of workload you have?
I will say I have always had balance in life. I don't know. No matter what's going on, you have to have that balance. So for me, one therapist should have therapists. If you get a therapist and they be like, no, I'm not in therapy, that's a red flag. Because you talk to people 24/7 and you're not talking to nobody. Like, no. So that's a red flag. So I don't have a therapist now, but it was because of insurance issues. But I have had her for like years. And then balance. Like, I go to the gym. I go to yoga every day.
Okay.
So I'm a little addicted to yoga now. But yoga and the gym is my like safe haven. And just the community. Like, I call my friends every day. And I think that is how I survive being a therapist. And it does provide me balance because it's like my life is not revolving around my clients. So like, I be going out on the weekends. I go out on the weekdays. I still be turning up. Like, I find a balance.
Got you. With no substance.
No, well, I drink. I a little drinky drink, a little lemon drop, French 75.
That's all right. Ain't
A little
nothing wrong
balance.
with it.
I don't be ODing no more. I'm a little old now. I got a 2-drink minimum.
That's fair. That's fine.
Yeah.
Any final remarks you would like to give any of the audience?
Yes. Okay, so one, I will say, please get therapy. Like, I'm being biased again, but get therapy because it does help. Like, I have a big community. Like, I can call like 3 people on the phone now and we can talk for 2 hours, but they're all biased. Like, I love my friends down, but they biased. Like, they gonna tell me what I want to hear. A therapist is unbiased and they don't know you,
Okay.
right? They don't know nobody that you're talking about. So they're seeing things from the outside, but they're able to process with you. It's so nice just to talk about yourself. Like, I know we all been on a phone call and you ready to tell your friend something, but they talking about themselves and you don't want to take up the space.
Yeah.
This is your space. And I feel like clients, I be telling my clients, I be like, oh, I don't want to be, girl, it's all about you. For a whole hour, talk about yourself. And you see how powerful it is, even for men. Like, I have men client, which I'm going to say, y'all is the hardest demographic to work with.
Why are we the hardest?
Because I don't even want to get on this, but
No, that's all
I
right.
had
Go
one
ahead.
client, yeah, he stresses me out. Like, thinking about him now, I'm just getting traumatized. He is so much, and I don't know, his thought process is crazy to me. But the one thing he said to me the other day, which made me like side-eye him on the call, was he was like, I knew Megan was lying. I'm just like, I don't know what y'all think, but I will say, I was like, why are you coming to your therapist about that? Like, why are you worried about Megan in a therapy session? And I was just like, I'm biased. No, he was using it as, and that's the thing too. I think men don't realize the control, like how things come out. Like, he was using it to say how his ex-girlfriend was, she just be falling for stuff, and she fell for Megan's lies. And I'm like, Tori didn't lie. He lied a couple times. Are we blind to that? So I don't know. I feel like some men don't want to hear the truth in session.
Okay, so you feel like, in a sense, like your women clients, they do want to hear the truth.
Oh yeah, they be ready. They be like, please tell me about myself. They can take it more than a man. Like, I feel like men are a little more like.
Women are more accountable in therapy.
Oh yes, I know people say that women are not accountable, but I feel like I have I do couples counseling as well, and all the women come to session and they are putting their stuff on the forefront and saying like, this is what I did. I'm telling you, that's probably one of the craziest stories I had. I had a couple come into me, and the man he was in jail, and they got together while he was in jail. He came home and was cheating the whole time.
Love after lock.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then she got pregnant. I'm just like, girl. But like that, and he was like, I do calls separately with couples just to kind of get a vibe, and he was being real honest with me. He was like, Rhea, like, I just want to be free. And I'm like, you got this girl pregnant.
Yeah,
you living with her. And I brought it to the session, and she was like, what? He don't want to be with me? And I'm like, no, he want to be in an open relationship. That's what I'm saying. Like, men are not open to being honest and being accountable. Because even in that session, I was like, can you tell her what you said? He was like, no. You tell her.
Maybe because, like, okay, it's different. Like, if I feel like, okay, in a simple sense, I feel like women probably won't take the honest truth if you tell them exactly what you feel. But if there's someone that I don't have an attachment to.
No, let me stop you there, because that's a lie. As a female in general, not a therapist, that is a lie. Men say like, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. My feelings are going to be hurt regardless. In a therapy session, it's less blow because I don't know you. But you telling me would be better.
Well, I mean, yeah, for him, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna tell you.
That's good, but most men don't. They be like, oh, but I don't want to hurt you. They want to avoid the blowback.
Well, yeah, because he not sure if she's gonna be crazy or not. Basically, he ain't sure if she's gonna.
So.
I mean, yeah, I would say so. Like, but that's his problem.
Avoidance. That's avoidance. Now you have avoidant personality.
Damn, you see so many things so different under a microscope. Jesus Christ. I mean, so your feedback for him is just what? Don't avoid it.
Don't avoid. I feel like as a person, I'm single too, so maybe I'm even more like clear. Have a clearer vision of things. Be honest, because I think that's how I live my life. If you tell me something.
Do you hold on? Wait, just stop that real quick. Since you just mentioned that, as a therapist, do you feel like it's a little different out here? It's a lot of people. If a person walk up to you at the bar or whatever the establishment is or whatever, do you like jump into that mindset when like somebody like coming to talk to you like, hey?
No, I try to shut it off. I try not to.
Is it hard though?
It's not that it's even hard. I mean, I guess no, it is. It's just like natural. You start noticing things, how people, even like when I'm talking to new people, I'm like, dang, you don't text back. You avoidant? Like, you okay? Like, what's going on? Are you a little scared? Like, I don't know. I start analyzing off the bat. I mean, you got to. People is crazy.
That's fair. I can't deny that one. That's fair.
That is.
Listen, I appreciate your time, your opportunity here, coming out here, showing us some love on this segment today.
Of course.
Listen, wherever y'all are, if you in upstate New York, if you in downstate, or they like to call it the 5 boroughs, go see
Five
Gilly.
boroughs.
The 5 boroughs. Go see Rhea. Come see her. Get you some therapy in. Talk about your problems. Avoid the substances. Don't use those when you come to see her. Don't mention her nothing about no substances because she ain't trying to
We
hear
going
it.
on treatment planning. So we going on safety planning first day.
Off the rip. First 30 seconds. As soon as you say, I smoke weed. Rhea, I appreciate you coming out here again.
Thank you. This has been awesome.
Until next time, direct to share, guys.
Alright, quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Roll sound. Sound production, take 1.